Thank you. Anybody else get a contact high coming in?
I thought that was just me.
I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but you ever feel a little nervous, a little out of your comfort zone coming to an event like this? Some of you? I can relate. A few months ago, I was at an event. This was not a Perform Better event, but it was a Perform Better sponsored event. It was all the way in Toronto, Canada. I had never been to Toronto. I was invited as an honored guest. I took the trek, as Chris mentioned, all the way from Middle Tennessee to Toronto, Canada. I arrived at the hotel after a long day of travel. This is the part I want to see if you could relate to. There was a cocktail hour the night before the event was to start. And I get it. You're supposed to go, you're supposed to do the whole make a friend thing, do the whole social thing. I'm usually the one preaching that. But now here I was, and if I'm honest, it's a little awkward. I'm in my hotel room sitting there. I'm making all the excuses. It's been a long day. I could get some rest and be even more energetic tomorrow. I can check in with the family. I could bang out some work. That'll be productive. Sure enough, I put my excuses to the side. I get myself ready. I walk into the cocktail hour. I find myself in a small group of people, and we start chatting it up. There may or may not have been a big bowl of potato chips in the middle of us as we're chatting it up, and it's not so bad. As we're standing there talking, somebody comes over and they say, guys, you gotta know this. Before I tell you what they said, keep in mind that Perform Better is now in 3 cities all over the US as far as the summit. There's over 100 speakers, and this is what they say. You 3 standing here in this room full of hundreds of people in Toronto, Canada, are the very 3 speakers at the Thursday night summit. And there we were. There's Brendan Stapleton, who just did his debut, did an awesome job. Then there's the guy with the rugged good looks in the middle, right here. And there's John Farkas, who's coming up next to share his wisdom. And then, of course, there's Chris Poirier, the guy behind it all. This was a reminder to me about how special the Perform Better family is. And Chris said it, and it bears repeating. The content is great, the info is great, everybody's worked really hard, but nothing is going to be more powerful than the connections you make while you're here. You see, you never know who you're sitting or standing next to, and you never know what opportunity might be right around the corner. It's for those reasons and more that I am so pumped to share with you some things that are going to help you not just improve your business, but build a business and life that lasts. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping, but I do want to say this. You guys, and I'm not just blowing smoke, it's easy to be like, you guys are awesome, you guys are good looking and all that stuff. But seriously, you guys are awesome. I'll tell you why. It's so easy to come to an event like this and nothing against it. To Brandon's point, Brandon, he didn't know this because we didn't share notes, but there's a lot of alignment. The exercise classes are great, and they're important. So neither of us are saying they're not. But it's the comfort zone for you. Coming to a business talk to learn about marketing and sales and finance, it's a little uncomfortable for a lot of us. So props to you for being here, and I mean that. I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, you are going places.
You're going places.
There we go. Awesome. Love it. Love it. A little bit of housekeeping. I might make some weird jokes. Just go with it. Number 2, as Chris mentioned, I am from New York. I have so much I want to share in our short time together. I was so excited. I couldn't sleep last night. at certain points, it might feel like I'm speaking a little fast, but keep in mind, you might be listening slow. And third and most important is I don't want this to be just a boring monologue. I do want the engagement, but what I want even more is I want for you to know the big takeaways, because there's going to be lots of takeaways weaved in throughout my time and all the other presenters, of course, but we're going to do what's called a callback. And when we're going to get to a big point, a big moment that you probably want to write down, I'm going to say, "Are you ready?" And you are going to say as loud as you can, or as comfortable as you can, "Let's go." Fair enough? Yeah. Okay, let's do one practice run and then we'll dive in. This next point is going to double your sales in the next 30 days. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Oh man, I love it. About 15 years ago, I was living the dream. I was newly married to Melissa, the woman of my dreams, about to start our family, the start of a budding fitness career. I was healthy, life was good. And then one day, as I'm getting ready for work, get a knock on the door. Surprised, I walk down the steps, I open the door. What I saw on the other side would change my life forever. I'm going to get back to exactly what was on the other side, but you might be wondering, who is this crazy guy? Anybody wondering that? Why should I listen to him? A bit about that. 3 pictures. Anybody recognize that guy? Yeah, it's Todd Durkin, one of the most influential people in our industry. This is a long time ago. This was the time Todd and I both appeared on The Bachelorette. Neither of us got a rose. Seriously, it's a reminder of how long I've been doing this, but more importantly, this was the very start of my leadership journey. There was a lot ahead, both good and bad, that I had no clue about. The second picture is really near and dear to me. It was last year. Some of you were there. It was the first time I hopped on stage at the Perform Better Summit after attending for many years, bringing the team, hanging on the words of all the speakers. And now it was an opportunity to share some things with both an industry and people that I love. And I'm deeply grateful for that. The third one is the most important. It's the most important team, the one at home. As you can see, I have a lot of kids. People ask, what is it like to have a lot of kids? I like to say it's kind of like a frat house. There's lots of noise, there's stuff everywhere, and there's always somebody throwing up. You ever wonder if you could build the business that you want, but also build the life that you want? I identify with that. It's something I've thought about constantly. Family is everything. I often say that I want the success, but I want it with my family or not at all. All right, enough of the sappy stuff for now. Let's talk about the journey for today. We are going to go on a journey. The journey is what we're going to be talking about today, but it's also the journey that you'll have to go on. We'll all have to go on this journey to build the life and the business that lasts. And there are 3 phases. The first is the wake up. The wake up is like it sounds. It's when there's a realization that something has to change, something has to be different. And then we move into the second part of that journey, which is the step up. The step up is when you have to move stuff around, you have to take some action, there's a behavior, a habit that has to be implemented. And the third part, and the most underrated, most often missed, is the stay up. The stay up is the idea that if you've been in business longer than 10 minutes, you know there are problems. And when you can build the resilience to overcome those problems, you can do what most people don't do, that is finish well and building a business and life that lasts. I talked about the wake up moment for me already. That was when I got that knock on the door. When I opened the door, what I saw on the other side was a jacked, bald dude covered in tattoos, piercings all over his face, all juiced up. as I looked past him, I saw my brand new white Honda Accord hooked up to his tow truck. Our car was being repossessed. Honestly, I was confused. I was embarrassed. What if my neighbors see my car hooked up to this truck? What am I going to tell my wife who's right inside? It's not what she signed up for. This was a difficult time, to say the least. My wife and I couldn't talk about money without arguing. I questioned myself heavily. Do I have what it takes? Ever question yourself? Can I get out of this hole? Can I build the business that I want? Going through that wake up, I discovered that I had, you ready for this? $130,000 in non-mortgage debt. And it was crushing us. There were 3 things I learned through this wake-up process. The first is that we don't have a business or a financial problem. We have an avoidance problem. We avoid the things that we know we need to address. And that could look like a lot of things, but oftentimes it's ignoring the P&L. It's not logging into our bank account. It's not having the difficult conversations, money or otherwise, that we know we need to have. It's like your clients sometimes, right? They come to you and where have they been? They haven't been to the doctor. They avoid getting in pictures. They avoid doing activities that they want to do. But here's the thing, and it's a Captain Obvious statement. When we avoid what we need to address, it doesn't go away, does it? Imagine what happens when we avoid it for long enough. And to Brendan's point, what happens over time if we don't address it? Imagine not being able to take care of yourself, let alone others that depend on you. Imagine not being able to spend time with your kids or your grandkids. I don't think any of us want to be this guy, the very old coach that is on the floor still, not because he wants to be there, but because he has to be there. There's a big difference there, isn't there? The second thing, when it comes to the wake up, is that you don't need permission to wake up. You can decide right now. June 12th at the Chicago Summit can be your time that you decide that you're gonna wake up. You don't have to have a car repossessed. You don't have to go through a bankruptcy or hit rock bottom. See, all big problems start as little problems, don't they? An author that I really like, Henry Cloud, says that the best leaders search and eat problems for breakfast. The third point when it comes to the wake up is from this book. Raise your hand if you've read this children's book. All right, I haven't either, so we're all in the same boat. A friend of mine, who's a great leader, he talks about this book, says it's the best children's book. Essentially, it's about a kid who is afraid of a monster. Does anybody have kids that are afraid of monsters? And my kids are constantly running around the house shutting doors because they're trying to escape from the monsters. But what he finds is that when he confronts the monster, it gets smaller. And that's exactly what I found. When I shone the flashlight under the bed, the monster got smaller. When I laid everything out, I didn't see the perfect picture that I wanted, but what I saw was options. And those options created opportunities. We're going to move into the step up. Before that, I want you to get the big takeaway here that you want to write down. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, good thing you didn't forget. That is that you can't fix what you won't face. And a question to reflect on, now and later. Where are you asleep in your business? I mean, there's lots of things it could be, right? It could be something with a team member. It could be something with your sales and marketing. It could be something with your personal finances. It could be something with a relationship. But there's something. We all have it, right? Like I said, we're moving into the step up. After I woke up, started doing some things, and quite honestly, things started going pretty well with some time and some hard work. Started getting out of debt. I started growing a profitable business. I started growing a strong team. And then one day, I'm sitting in Panera Bread of all places. I had just finished up a jiu-jitsu training session with some of my training partners. Any BJJers out here? All right, awesome. So you guys know the weird addiction that it is? I'm sitting in Panera Bread, I'm sucking down my tomato soup, and I get a phone call. And on the other end is not this guy, it's a guy named Paul Moeller. Paul Moeller was one of my first clients. Everybody remember their first clients? He was a great guy. He was really old, but when I think back, I think he was my age now. He was super successful. I did look up to him. He had a wonderful family. He was a partner of a huge CPA firm on Long Island, New York, in a wealthy area. He was so nice to me that he decided he was going to help me and he was going to take care of my taxes. Keep in mind, this guy, he worked with some really well-off people. I would pull up to his office eventually in my sweatpants and my used Honda Accord. I'm parked around all these supercars, walk into his office with my box of receipts, and he would take me out. But how much do you think he charged me? This high-profile accountant. Charged me $0. Awesome, right? I excuse my buddies sitting at the table at Panera, go over to the side, and Paul's on the other end, and he says, Billy, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you're finally starting to make some real money. The bad news is you owe $6,000 in taxes, and it's due by the end of the week. Paul, it's Thursday. I know, but if you don't take care of it, there's going to be taxes and penalties and fees added on. Man, I felt like I was in a fight, and I was doing my thing, and all of a sudden I got knocked down. After that, I was putting in so much work. This was frustrating. I set up a payment plan with the IRS because if there's anybody who's getting their money, it's the IRS. Took care of that. I called Paul up, and I say, hey, Paul, I know you have all these great clients, but here's the deal. I respectfully think that because I'm not necessarily paying, I'm not necessarily getting the help that I need. So I have the perfect solution. I want to start paying what you would charge me. Paul kind of humors me, and he says, yeah, we'll work something out. A little time goes by, nothing changes. I call Paul back, and I say, Paul, I love you, but you're fired. And there you have it. I fired the high-level CPA that wasn't charging me. And that's when I met this guy who was happy to take my money. This was a little while after that story. And I just think this is so cool. I showed up at his office. Things were going really well. We're crushing it, running multiple successful facilities on Long Island. And I'm showing up in my $1 Old Navy flip-flops, and I'm taking care of business. Isn't that cool about what we do? How many careers can you do that with? Here's a big takeaway when it comes to stepping up. Are you ready?
Let's go.
It's always my fault. You see, if it's not your fault, if it's your spouse's fault, if it's your employee's fault, if it's the government's fault, if it's your parents' fault, you're never going to do what you need to do to improve your situation. You are either an innie or an outie, and I'm not talking about your belly button. An outie is focused on all the external things that they blame. The innie looks inside. What can I do to improve the situation? The problem and the solution are the same, and they're the person staring back at you in the mirror. There are 3 things you can control when it comes to stepping up. The first is your attitude. We know that positive people get better results than negative people. Winston Churchill said that attitude is a small thing that makes a big difference, and he was right. The second thing we can control is how we respond. We can either curl up like a ball or we can do something about it. You are where you are today because of the things that you did yesterday, and you are where you're going to be tomorrow because of what you're doing today. Agree? Disagree? Anybody want to fight? Agreed, right? I was a little aggressive. Sorry about that. The third thing you can control, and I am so excited about this because this is going to be amazing. This next point is going to change your life. It's going to make you a millionaire. I guarantee it. That's a crazy statement, right? Maybe you're already a millionaire. Awesome. It'll make you a multimillionaire. We can control the effort that we put in. And I'm not talking about this gargantuan level of effort. I'm talking about a sustainable amount of effort that you can produce over time. When it comes to anything, money specifically, a lot of the effort has to be front-loaded. You do the work now, and you reap the benefits later. There's a concept called the wealth multiplier, which says, how much is my dollar worth today in the future? And this is something that so few people get right, and it can change your life. It can lead to financial freedom. It's so powerful. We're going to illustrate with an example. I'm going to need some volunteers. It's going to be really easy. Raise your hand if you are in your 20s. All right, keep those hands up. What's your name, sir? Matt. Matt, do we know each other? You look familiar. Come on up. Let's give Matt a hand. Matt is going to represent the person.
Ben, actually.
Ben? You changed your name already? I'm sorry. Stand right here, Ben. I don't know how I heard Matt. I'm getting old. All right, raise your hand if you're in your 30s. Awesome. You, sir? Yep, come on up, please. I happen to know this guy. It's Alex. Let's give Alex a hand. I'm going to have you stand right next to our friend Ben. Raise your hand if you're in your 40s. Thank you so much. Stand right here, please. And raise your hand if you're willing to admit you're in your 50s. Just kidding. It's an awesome decade. All right. Yeah, come on up. Yep. She tried to put it down. Just stand somewhere over here. I don't know if you want to be out of the... There you go. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to illustrate the power of the wealth multiplier. I really hope and pray that you grasp onto this because it is powerful. It's how much can you invest on a monthly basis to accumulate $1 million in retirement. And I have a special, this is not a gift. I want to be really clear about that because this is real money. This is my money. Everybody clear on that? All right, so I have different envelopes here. If you just hang on one second, Ben. He's representing the 20s, right? And then I have Alex representing the 30s. I have Megan representing the 40s. And I have Lisa representing the 50s. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Before you guys open up and check out the real money that's in there, it represents the wealth multiplier. You guys can start opening it and counting it. There's a cheat sheet if you don't feel like counting. How much money do you think you have to invest if you're in your 20s to become a millionaire in retirement? Just shout it out. Monthly. 300, 200, perfect. How about if you are in your 30s? Take a guess. 500, 1,000. How about your 40s? 1,000. And how about your 50s? Got about 15 years at that point, right? How much do you think? That's tough. 10,000, perfect. Good guesses. All right, so Ben, if you are in your 20s, how much do you have to invest on a monthly basis to reach millionaire status?
$95 per month.
$95 per month. If you are in your 20s and you're here, you're going to want to heed this. Because when you accumulate $1 million, guess how much of that million is from Ben's $95 investments? Anybody want to guess? Half is a good guess. The answer is, what did I ask? How much was from his investments? It's $50,000. $950,000 of that was from the money multiplying itself. That is the power of what has been called the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. You're never going to be trading enough clients to have that kind of results. Does that make sense to you? What do you think of it?
Sounds pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. All right, think about it.
Okay.
All right, Alex, in your 30s, how much?
$340 a month.
$340 a month. Of course, it's a little bit more because you have less of the most important component to wealth building, which is, yes. And it's okay, regardless of your age. Don't lose sight of the importance of the lesson here. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter the percentages. I'm basing this off of average returns, but all of that doesn't really matter because we're just trying to drive home the principle of getting that money that you earn from your gym business to work harder than you ever can with your hands and your back and your brains. 40s.
$1,052 a month.
$1,052 a month. Now, depending on where you're at, that might sound like a lot, maybe not, but keep in mind, this is starting from zero, and as you get older, generally you get better, and generally you command a higher level of income, right? And last but not least, I couldn't afford this one, so we have some horse monopoly money there. How much in your 50s?
$3,155.
All right, and this is crazy because even in your 50s, a huge amount is from the growth. I'm talking about half of it. So even if you're in your 50s and you're starting from zero, which is not necessarily the case for everybody, you still can accumulate $500,000 of money that you didn't put in. Powerful stuff. Let's give everybody a hand. I'm going to ask Ben to hang out here for a little bit. Yeah, you guys can put that right back.
You don't get to keep it?
You do not? Thank you, thank you. Let's give these three a hand. Thank you so much, Ben. All right, now that you've had a minute to think about it, what are your thoughts? Is it powerful? Do you like the idea? Are you going to do it?
Can I keep it invested now for my month?
Do you promise to invest at least $95 moving forward every single month and not stopping? Raise your right hand. With us as your witness, do you promise?
I promise.
What do you say? Should I give it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. We just made a millionaire.
Thank you.
You got it, brother.
I appreciate it.
You got it. Here you go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's powerful stuff. And that was a lot of numbers. In case you want to get a screenshot of the numbers, if you want to know the wealth multiplier or the age, just take a quick screenshot before we move on. And if you have any questions, of course, about this or anything else that I teach, the Q&A is tomorrow morning, and of course I'll be around because this might be new information to some. But it's powerful. I shared before, like some people might be thinking, well, I missed the boat because I'm not Ben, right? Anybody feeling that way? Okay, be honest. I was and am that guy. I did not get this right. In fact, I got it so wrong, it's ridiculous. I went in the reverse way. I had a tremendous amount of debt, did not get it right in my 20s, did not get it right in most of my 30s, and I still don't always get it right. Even with that, I've been able to achieve some phenomenal results by applying this principle over time. Anybody ever feel like they forget to celebrate their big wins? It's common, right, with business ownership? Got to read The Gap and the Gain for that one. I do the same thing, but this is one I did not want to miss. So I celebrated with my family, and I want to share it with you so you can see this incredible moment.
House and everything! Did it in 12 years, making 70 to 180. Count it down!
All right.
Let's hear a debt-free scream!
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah!
Thank you.
Way to go, you guys!
Don't forget to celebrate. We're moving into the last part of our journey. I'm excited and sad all at the same time. We're talking about the stay up. Brendan shared all of his stuff that he dealt with. If you've been in business for a while, you've dealt with that stuff. I've been through everything. I've been forced out of a location. I had my best friend leave and open up down the block. I had to run a facility from 1,000 miles away. Lots of challenges, and I made all the mistakes. I did a couple of things right, thankfully, that really saved my butt. But the one thing that comes to mind for staying up, March of 2020. Can't believe it was 5 years already. Early March, I get an email from a guy. His name was Jeff. And if I'm honest, Jeff was a little nerdy. He was a little nerdy. I get this email, open up my email. Keep in mind, I've never been one to watch the news, or at least for a long time. I don't get worried about things, which is to a fault. But the email says, hey, Billy, I saw that there's been a first case diagnosed of COVID-19 and wondering what you're going to do at your facility, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if I'm honest, I'm like, this guy's nuts. I didn't know what to do, right? So I wrote back, Jeff, please be assured that we are taking every possible protocol to make sure you stay safe at our facility. And we were. I was keeping the place clean. About like 3 days later, like that happened so fast. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like that email, because I looked back, I was going to try to put it on the screen, but I'm like, it was like 3 days later, like the whole world shut down. It was so crazy. I decided to go on vacation. Like, this thing is fine, let's go on vacation. Take my family away, things are good, life is good. Again, running multiple successful facilities, on vacation, life is good. I'm sitting on the porch where I'm visiting. I get a text. The text is from Tom Tierney. Tom Tierney was do you remember Tom Tierney? He was a longtime client who had recently become a part-time coach. Text says, hey, Billy, I don't know if you heard, but all the gyms have been shut down in New York. It's like my first day of vacation. That turned out to be anything but a vacation. I worked more hours my entire life that week. I did what a lot of you did. I turned the location where I was into a virtual studio, changed all of our programming. I kept really good communication with our team and with our clients. As soon as I got things buttoned up a little bit, I hit the spreadsheets. I hit the accounting software. I made sure I budgeted like never before. I was doing cash flow forecasts. I became even more disciplined with my spending. I remember I had an assistant at the time, Lori. She put in a request to order some office supplies. Denied. Like, the gym's closed. We're not ordering office supplies. Sure enough, I'm so thankful that by God's grace, we remained very profitable during and after COVID, never paid myself $1 less, while how many percentage of gyms closed? All right, you got paying attention. He gets a gold star or something. Nice job. That's the power of staying up. I was preparing for this talk, and I came across a really interesting study that I want to share with you. It was a Harvard business study. This is powerful stuff, so you're going to want to write this down for sure. Because, well, hopefully COVID type thing doesn't happen, something's going to happen. Everybody agree with that? Right? If we're sitting here in 15 years, it could be all types of crazy stuff. That's the thing. It's not if, it's when. It's not like really nice to talk about, but something is going to happen, either in your personal life, in the world, or something, in your business, in your community. This Harvard business study found out what the ones that did well through those periods did. Most don't, like 81% don't. There were two things that were common threads. Anybody want to take a guess? They're pretty obvious once you hear them. Anybody? Communication. You guys are lively. The two things were, they doubled down on customer service. They knew that people apparently like getting taken care of. They like having a good service, even when things are hard, right? The second thing is marketing. While all the other businesses pull back because they're trying to hold off on spending and they're scared, and they went all in on marketing. How can we get our message out even more? Those were the two things. But I wish I was involved with this Harvard study, because I would have added one. The one I would have added would be to have fun. Gotta have fun during difficult times. Life is short, gotta have fun. So I decided to have some fun. After I got things settled at my gym, I walk into my bathroom and randomly I look in the mirror and I say to myself, I'm gonna shave my head completely bald. I had more hair because 5 years ago, so I had a little bit more hair. And I'm gonna walk out of the bathroom and scare the crap out of my kids. So this is how it went. What are you guys up to? Gotta have fun. Remember that. Write that down. It's important. We're in that last part of the journey, just as a reminder, right? So 3 phases. We're on the last one here. There are 3 things that will help you stay up. And there's going to be a lot of parallels with Brendan's stuff. This is a picture. I'll tell you what this is not. This is not a perform better design facility. This was a little bit before that. This was my first facility. But to Brandon's point, we were the best. And I mean that. We were the best. One of my former team members is here, and she knows. We were the best. Didn't matter. Now, I think now it's going to be tough to get away with that. But we did really well. That's me right here. A little bit of a smaller forehead. I couldn't afford a stopwatch, and I didn't have a uniform. But I gave great service. If you were to look past this guy with the Fairtex shirt with the dumbbells, it might look like this is just part of my gym. The big part was on the other side. No, that was it. If you were to go past him, there was a little curtain and a makeshift office with a table and a chair. The first point of the stay up. When people talk about what does it take to be successful, they talk about what? You gotta work hard, you gotta grind, you gotta work 20 hours a day. And they talk about you gotta manage your energy. But you can't manage, you gotta manage your time. You can't manage your time, you got to manage your energy. When I had this facility starting out, I had less than no money. Guess what I did, Brendan? I worked on my business. I'm trying to get brownie points with Brendan. That's a Michael Gerber reference. If you haven't read that book, it's called The E-Myth Revisited. Make sure you put that in your notes. That book changed things. I hired somebody because I had a vision. That's another thing I got right. I got a couple things right. That was one of them. I had a vision for what I wanted my business and my life to look like, and I did not want to be that very old trainer. And that's nothing wrong. I know there are people here that are very successful, that do a lot of training. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of it comes down to what you want. I didn't want to be the one that was always on the floor. I wanted to spend a lot of time with my family. I have hobbies that take a lot of time. I had to have that vision and work toward that. And the way that I did that was even from the start, I hired a part-time coach. We walked into the gym together, this beautiful gym, and he trained the clients. I went in the back in the makeshift office and I worked on the sales and the marketing. I worked on setting up referral systems, and that's how the business grew. And thankfully that hasn't stopped. Even to this day, there's always that time to work on the business. Just to reiterate some things that have been said, if you're not at the level that you'd like to be in terms of number of clients or revenue, it's easier to throw things out there, but I'm gonna encourage you to spend at least 50% of your time on those areas. That's gonna help you grow your business. You wanna write that down as well. There's lots of books on this. The first one I read was called The Power of Full Engagement. Anybody read that one? It was all about managing your energy, and there's been other books about it, but the one I wanna reference for you is called Indistractable. It's written by a guy named Nir Eyal. Anybody? He talks about this idea of time boxing, which is interesting. It's a little bit different than the way other people talk about it. It does a couple things that I want to encourage you to do. First, there's the 3 circles. The first one is you. Raise your hand if you flew on an airplane here. What did they say to do in case of a water landing or whatever it is? What do you have to do? What What'd you have to put on? Do that when? First, got to take care of yourself. I have subscribed to this philosophy, and it's made tremendous difference. A lot of people will talk about you got to just focus on sales and clients and get more, and that's all fine, and I'm all about that, but you have to take care of yourself. Jim Rohn said if you work on your career, you'll make a living, but if you work on yourself, you'll make a fortune. The second circle is relationships. Relationships. All the studies on happiness talk about relationships. Got to prioritize relationships. And the third one is career, and that's why we're here, to grow. Here's a 3-step framework. Number 1, identify your values. What is a value? It's a good question, because a lot of times these terms get thrown out in the business world, but nobody really defines them. He describes a value as an attribute that you want your future self to have. So we're going to do some more of this awesome engagement. For you and your career, what is a value or what is an attribute you want your future self to have? Anybody, shout it out. What is it? Hair. Anything else? Value your time. Good. That's really good. Let's go with that. The second step is to assign activities according to those values for the area, right? For the area of career. So if time is a value, maybe you're going to want to work on your business. I couldn't have set that up better. What else do you guys value? Health, family. So what should go on your list of activities if one of your values is family? This is not rocket science. Family time. That goes in a third one, a time box. Not a real box. I shared this one time. Somebody's like, do you have the box? I'm like, no. This is a box on your calendar. It's in a time box. It does 2 things that are powerful. Number 1, it prevents you from doing the thing that I do sometimes is you write down all the things you have to do, you do them, you feel a little surge, and then you realize I didn't really move the needle. It forces you to live in your values, to improve your life, improve your business. The second thing it does is more powerful, and it's never talked about. It's that it teaches you a skill that the very best people do, and that is they know how long things take. Most people are terrible at knowing how long things take. We know how long it takes to do a training session, but how long does it take to write your emails? How long does it take to write your blog? How long does it take to do your social media content? How long does it, and you have no idea, so everything's all scrambled. But if you start learning how long things take, that's a skill that evolves and you get better and better and better, because even where you are now, things will change. That is one of the most important skills for you to take away, is knowing how long things take. I'm a major work in progress, but it's gotten a lot better. The second point, when it relates to staying up, is from the book Atomic Habits. Anybody read that one? James Clear? I actually did read that one. He talks about the power of tiny gains. I got this from his website. The main point here is if you look towards the start of that axis, there's not much movement, but then all of a sudden, there's this hockey stick effect. 1% better every day will get you 40% better over the course of 12 months. What would that do for your business if you got 40% better at sales, at marketing, at finance? This is the secret. Everyone's looking for the big home run, but this is the secret. We're going to illustrate this with an actual example with 2 gym owners named Messy Mike and Marginal Manny. And they're both good dudes. Messy Mike gets a bad rap because of how he looks. He's not so bad. He works hard. He just doesn't quite have the power of tiny gains dialed in the same way that Marginal Manny does. We're going to get a little bit number specific here. Just like the financial stuff, don't lose sight of the principle, because these numbers may or may not apply to you depending on your model. They might be good, they might be bad. I don't want you to worry too much about that. Just worry about the power of tiny gains. We're going to talk about 4 key numbers that I focused heavily on through my training career. One was leads. Everybody knows what a lead is. It's a prospect. They're interested in your business. They come to you via in-person, website, social media. The second is the set rate. That is that they booked their next step. The third is their show rate. It's one thing to book the appointment, but it's another thing to actually show up. And the next one is your close rate. They subscribe to an ongoing membership. And then you have your average sale, and then your revenue for the month. So I went through that pretty quickly, but you can just read it there. His leads were 20 per month. His set rate was 60%. And again, that number depends on your model. 12 appointments, 70% show rate. That means 3 out of 10 are not showing up, and he's getting half of them to sign up for an average of $21,250. Now, more engagement. I'm so excited. Let's talk about Marginal Manny. I can give you all the answers, but we have some really smart folks here. He wants to turn all 4 of these dials a little bit. He wants to get his leads from 20 to 30. He knows with the right amount of effort, he could get 1 person per day to have a conversation with him about his life-changing program. So shout out a couple of things, and you guys write these down. If you hear something like, yeah, I could do that better, write it down. What could he do to get a lead per day? What are you doing to get leads? There's no wrong answer. Shout it out. Follow up on no-shows. What else? Ask your clients for referrals. Awesome. We'll go maybe try to get 2 for each one. So he does that, and he gets his 30. It's like magic. He actually puts a little bit of effort in. You can do that. Next, he wants to get the set rate up just 5% from 60 to 65. So again, these are the people that already showed interest, but now he wants to get more of them to take that next step. It's usually a basic thing that will do the trick. How can he get a little bit more of them to set that first appointment? Shout it out. Get in touch with them faster. That's a really good one. Get in touch with those leads at the longest interval, 24 hours, but if not, much sooner. A great thing I heard that helped me tremendously, like this analogy. He said leads are like ice cream, and that ice cream is dripping to the floor. Once you miss it, it's gone forever. That helped me. When I get a lead, I'm thinking about ice cream. It's weird, but it works. He does all that. He gets his 65%. Next, he's trying to get his show rate, which is pretty terrible, that 3 out of 10 are not showing up. What can he do to get that to 80%? Shout it out. Confirm. Some of these like doctors, they're like annoying about it. They're like, we want to make sure you're coming, so send me a 3-page letter with a stamp. And I'm like, can you just text me? He does all that. He gets to 80%. And he wants to get his close rate up from 50% to 60%. Think about it. How could he close more sales? What might he do to turn that dial a little bit?
Listen more.
Wow. How's that? Listen more. Can we get one more? Eye contact. Good. I'm being awkward with eye contact. What is it? Ask. You don't have because you don't? That's right. How about doing some role playing? How about creating a script? Just a couple of ideas. He also could have increased his average sale. Nobody would have known. Raise your hand if you know you need to raise your prices, but you just haven't. Be honest. It's like everybody, right? None of your clients are going to care if you raise your prices a little bit. His revenue, not $21,250, but $47,000 just from moving those dials a little bit. Doesn't matter if these are your numbers. It works. But wait, there's more. He's going to turn 2 additional levers because he is Marginal Manny. He knows the power of what the cool kids call the leg. You guys know the leg? It's length of engagement, how long the clients are staying with you in your program. He wants to get them to stay 2 additional months. What can he do to get clients to stay 2 months longer? Shout it out. Any ideas? Yeah. Communicate well. What was yours? There you go. How you're positioning it, right? Customer service. Member challenge. Get them results. Maybe even highlight those results, right? So they realize. That's one like little quick tip is a lot of times people, are you like me and you almost like you're never happy almost with your results? Anybody? Right? So your clients are the same way. So it's really good to remind them, like even little things. Like, hey, Mary, when you first started, you were lacking consistently. Now you're showing up even more. Like that's really impressive. Like, because she doesn't think about it herself. She's thinking about all the things she's not doing, right? The last thing is Marginal Manny goes to John Farkas's seminar, and he learns to get more referrals because he knows that's a powerful lever. What might he do to get more referrals? Someone said ask. I mean, that's probably the best answer. Any other ideas to get more referrals? John Farkas, any ideas? We have to wait for that one.
Bring a friend day.
Bring a friend day. Why not? So he does these things, and what are the results? After 12 months, Messy Mike gets $255K in sales. Marginal Manny gets $650,000. How different is that? If you really want to blow your mind, stretch that out over years. Blow your mind even further, take that difference and get it compounding like we talked about before. We are moving into the final point when it comes to staying up. And this is perhaps the biggest difference maker, but it's so often missed. This might be our last time. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, we are talking about the 5 financial rhythms that change everything. I think of 2 gym owners that I've worked with. One always seems to be chasing that top line, always looking for more clients. Nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but it always seems like he's just a few clients short of that financial piece he was hoping for. The other guy, thankfully, started working with me from the start, put the financial rhythms in place, and there's a black and white difference. He's excited each month. His profit is going up. He's growing at the speed of cash. He's paying himself more, and he has a lot more peace around his finances. Here are 5 things you can do to implement for those rhythms. Number 1 is deciding what you want. It sounds so simple, but it's true. A lot of people ask me that, like, what did you do? And it's like, I just decided at one point. I got fed up and I said, that's it. This is where I'm going. You have to decide. What do you want? Do you want financial freedom? Because be bold and be clear about that. Maybe you want to be uber wealthy. Be a goal setter and a goal getter. Not just around things that don't really matter, but things that will actually change your life. The second is getting your personal finance house in order. Not talked about enough. Businesses go out of business, 81% of them during COVID, not necessarily because they're not profitable. They go out of business because they run into a cash crisis. They run into a cash crisis because their personal finance is not in order. I'm talking about things like doing a working budget. I'm talking about tracking, but I'm also talking about getting and staying out of debt, building an unexpected reserve fund, saving and investing a percentage of all you make. Get your personal finances in order. You're not going to have a successful business when the personal finances are a mess. Got it. Look, these next 3 on the 5 are all car analogies, right? Because we're taking a journey. The third one is to look out the rear view. What happened? If we don't look at the past, we're not able to move forward. I'm talking about, where did the money go? You have money coming in. What was your sales? What were your expenses? What was your profit? What is your cash position? Looking out the rear view. The fourth one is looking inside the car. I'm talking about tracking your spending, yes, but I'm also talking about percentage allocations, your profit, your owner pay, your taxes, how you're paying your expenses, the types of bills, the recurring, the non-recurring, the very regular. Having a system for those will give you that peace. The fifth one, and the one that's probably missed the most, I'm saying Brandon's name too much. The guy before me, one thing he said that really hit home for me was, and I just love this, it's looking at the bigger businesses. It's really interesting, right? Because we want to grow, and then we look at the bigger businesses and we do nothing like them. A lot of gym owners do what's called bank balance accounting. They look at their account. If I have what's in there, then I make the decision. Do you think big businesses are doing that? Or do they have a budget? Do they have a cash flow forecast? Are they doing scenario planning? These are the kinds of things you're going to want to do to move into that that CEO position. We talked about waking up, stepping up, and staying up. I have a powerful story and exercise for you. But before we do that, we're gonna take a 1-minute break. I'm gonna have you pull out your phone, hit this QR code. It's gonna give you a very short survey. I wanna know how I'm doing. I wanna know how I could serve you even better. And perhaps even more importantly, there's a deeper dive into the financial rhythms that you can use to implement in your business when you fill that out. I'm just gonna give you guys a minute and we're gonna finish strong. I'm gonna play a little song. If you wanna get up and dance, if you finish, all good. Yes. Oh, yeah. You guys are done to start dancing. Here we go. Did you finish it?
What?
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
Okay, so nice. Well done. Nice. Give you guys another 30 seconds. Cool song, right? All right, guys, thanks so much. Phones away. Phones away! Thank you so much for doing that. It truly is helpful. You remember that story I shared in the beginning when I hit rock bottom, got my car repossessed, and I was losing hope? That guy back then is a very different man than the one that's standing in front of you today. He had no clue how to build a successful business or life. What he also didn't know was that each part of that journey would lead him here today, standing in front of you, hopefully inspiring you to achieve your desired freedom. Anybody recognize this scene? It's the final scene from the classic movie, Shawshank Redemption. There's a scene before this where the two main characters, there's Red, played by Morgan Freeman, and Andy Dufresne. They're sitting in the prison yard. Keep in mind, if you haven't seen it or it's been a while, they had been there a long time. Red had been there 30 to 40 years at this point. When he came in, he was young, and now he's old. Andy looks at him, and he says, "Do you ever think about what you'd do if you got out of here?" Red thinks about it for a second. "I don't know if I can make it on the outside. I've been here my whole life. It's like I'm institutionalized now." Andy replies, not me. I know exactly where I'd go. Zihuatanejo. He goes on to describe it. It's off the Pacific coast of Mexico. Beautiful, sprawling beaches, beautiful blue Pacific. I'd start a small hotel business. I'd charter a fishing boat for guests. Enjoy the great conversations and beautiful views. Andy Dufresne had a vision. If you remember, he went through some unimaginable things, some things that nobody should have to deal with. It was that vision that kept him going. I want you to think about your vision. I'm going to have you close your eyes. Close your eyes for a minute with me. Think about your Zihuatanejo. Think about what you want to achieve, what you could accomplish, the options that you could have for your future self when you start waking up, stepping up, and staying up. Think about that for a moment. I want you to get a good picture of that. Once you have that picture, hopefully you do, get a snapshot and then open your eyes. You can use that to motivate yourself when life gets tough, because it will. Quick recap. We talked about waking up, the moment when you decide something has to change. Then there was stepping up. You start moving stuff around, doing things, because nothing happens without what? Action. Successful people do not have less problems than anyone else. They're just standing on top of them with their arms in the air. And then you stay up, because you develop the resilience not just to get by, but to grow into your potential. I know that you have what it takes. I know you can achieve the vision you have for yourself. My final question for you is, what is your Zihuatanejo? What's the one thing you know you must do to move closer to your desired freedom? Because when you wake up, step up, and stay up, there's no telling where you can end up. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to start. It's been great being with you all, and I truly hope that you attend the Q&A tomorrow, because it's going to be a great time.